Qatar Open, it is the men's and singles quarterfinals. This world from Chinese Taipei, world rank number 9, CHUANG Chih Yuan. And the British world from Qatar, world rank number 19, Koki. And kindly welcome your officials from Qatar, and also from Qatar, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, it is CHUANG Chih Yuan versus Koki. It is the semi-final ITTF World Tour Qatar Open 2017.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ITTF Seamaster 2017 World Tour Platinum Qatar Open, coming to you live from Doha, Qatar. I'm your commentator, Adam Bobrow, and with me, Richard Prause.
It's fun commentating with you, Adam, and we're looking forward for this last quarterfinal between CHUANG Chih Yuan and Koki NIWA. And yeah, to my point of view, will be really an open match. Koki NIWA was suffering, to my point of view, just before the Olympics, the month and years before, really like not finding stability. But at the Olympics, at the end, he was really coming up very, very strong. Helping Japan a lot to reach the final, beating actually Germany in the semi-final. And also in last week in India, you just mentioned it, he did a good job there playing Dmitry Ovcharov.
Quite an impressive match. It felt like it could have gone either way. I remember at the very end there was a ball or two I think Dima was apologizing for, and immediately after the match shook his hand and patted him on the back and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, brother, like, you know, my bad, a few breaks here and there," but surprisingly, that one really felt like it could have gone either way. Now, you talked about the Olympic Games. Koki NIWA there, he's one of the only players in the world outside of China who's beaten Ma Long in modern history, right?
Exactly.
2012 maybe,
yeah.
Asian Games?
In the qualification for the Olympics.
Right, that's what it was.
In the first stage.
And similarly, at the Olympic qualifications, CHUANG Chih Yuan of Chinese Taipei, who's been the top player of Taiwan for as long as I can remember, I mean, it feels like it's about a decade and a half, finally beat Xu Xin at the Olympic qualifications.
Yeah.
So that's a very big win. He's 35 years old, very physically fit. He was world rank number 10 when he entered. He's currently world rank number 9. And you were going to say?
And they both have a special history with the Olympics. For example, Koki NIWA, the month and 1.5, 2 years before the Olympics, like, he was really so much up and down. And in 2016, he was not only in the teams where he was playing a very good double with Yoshimura, but also in the singles, beating Wong Chung Ting from Hong Kong, doing a very, very fine performance altogether. And CHUANG Chih Yuan, on the other hand, he had a very fine and good preparation for 2016, doing lots of good performances and competing till the very last moment for a good seeding position with Jun Mitsutani, doing really some very, very good results. And at the end, at the Olympics, I think he only managed to win one single game, as he was losing the first round of singles against Kwat Giraruna from Nigeria 4-0, and losing for Taipei in the team one match against Dmitry Ovcharov 3-0, and also 3-0, if I have right in mind, against Bastian Steger. So that's really, let's say, not the best performance he did in 2016. And yeah, well, will be interesting to see in which direction this match might be going.
Right. I'll tell you a little bit more about Koki NIWA in a bit. Again, this is a best-of-7 match. Service error to start off the first point of the match, probably the best time to get it out of the system. Koki NIWA, currently world rank number 19. He's 22 years old and the 13th seed in this tournament. Now, head-to-head, they've played 5 times before, and all 5 of those have been won by CHUANG Chih Yuan. Another forehand flipper out here, someone capable of it. Now watching, I saw CHUANG Chih Yuan playing yesterday, some incredible rallies with Wang Chunting, so outstanding. The fast footwork, these are two of the best players in the world outside of China. I mean, the counter loop rallies you'll get from these two are incredible.
Very, very fast footwork. And maybe the only thing that Chuani is missing sometimes is a better placement, a better change of timing. Because as you can see here also, it's very much cross-court, very much diagonal, not too much like a different placement. And he loves to play fast and even faster.
Right, his speed is impeccable, a little bit predictable and safe though in the placement, as you mentioned.
5-1.
You know, we've talked a lot about physical fitness. I think it was last year in Qatar. So we started off the year on the World Tour, winning the Hungarian Open, very first of the World Tour. I tried to work out with him in Qatar, couldn't hang. After 13 minutes just on the treadmill, was done. And he was still picking up speed. And then we went on to weights, and after a minute or two of weights, I was probably lifting about half of what he was lifting. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back to my hotel room. And he's like, all right, I just have 20 more minutes. I'll meet you later.
But most of the athletes nowadays, they are really athletes. And I mean, the ones who really also from China set up it in a very early way was Wang Lichin, for example, who went to the gym also on the day when he has to play a competition or like a big match. So that's quite common, quite normal for them also to do some gym, some running, some preparation also during big tournaments.
Right, I think the first time I saw CHUANG Chih Yuan warming up, he was doing about 45 minutes of counter looping right before his match at the World Championships in 2014. I thought, how does he even have stamina to play a match now? But that's just conditioning basics for him. You know, it's a warm-up.
So Koki NIWA coming back a little bit. He's known for having this very, not aggressive, but very spinny banana flick in all direction. He likes to come with his return.
5-7.
Yeah, and for those of you who didn't see the India Open last week, which was spectacular, Koki NIWA did this move. He's so creative, but we called it the ballroom reception and at times the ballroom deception. He'd step all the way around to the backhand side and do pretty much a side spin chop.
6-7.
I think even from the All Japan Championships, I mean, there's a shot of him running through the court, turning his back to the table and punching it, spinning the other way. He's just outstandingly creative on the table. That's where he's most confident, right?
7-0.
And you see a little bit the tech. This match might be going. Koki NIWA is known to be very, very safe with the backhand. He's trying to keep CHUANG Chih Yuan in this backhand down the line. And on the other hand, I'm sure good service here that Chuan wants to open the game, wants to make Koki NIWA move into the forehand side.
Deep enough on the table to cause some trouble. CHUANG Chih Yuan has to back up a little bit to step around for that forehand.
But more spinny this ball as you expect. Usually you thought maybe it's a very good chance to come with a fast forehand topspin, but this backhand return, it's quite spinny.
Where did that one come from? He was just running back to get in position, took it right off the bounce to play it out to the forehand. I mean, this is a shot, this is almost a Hail Mary defensive shot. And as he's coming back, still gets a swing on it and burns Chuani on the forehand.
9-0.
The hand, the way Koki NIWA is playing, his hand is moving really on unbelievable high level. What is he's missing a little bit is footwork, and especially when it's coming to spin situation. You see there nearly how upwards he's standing. Also, he's quite small.
Right, he has a low center of gravity. It always looks like he's not trying as hard when he's out here.
9-10.
But his touch, and also he is quite strong, despite not being a big guy. I mean, he's solid muscle. And he's very quick, and he uses his wrist well. But yeah, his stance is very deceptive.
Yep.
Back edge of the table, and Koki NIWA takes the first game 11-9 over CHUANG Chih Yuan.
And Yuan, he was up 5-1. So then in one moment, Koki Niwa was able to come back, and it started very much with his backhand receive, and it's coming to the backhand situation. And one more time, CHUANG Chih Yuan has to open the game. Maybe it's a good idea to come also with his long service from time to time down the line, because you said it in a total right way. Koki Niwa is playing quick, but his spins, his loops are not that heavy. It's quick and fast. You will maybe, I don't know, you will call it in boxing, you will call it like this jab a little bit in this way. That's the way he's playing table tennis. Not this big knockout strokes as Ma Long is using, but always his little jabs there.
Yeah, even from off the table, he's quite dangerous sometimes with these. They almost appear to be flat hit backhands, but he keeps the pressure on and he keeps them deep. I will say in his touch game, though, over the table, he can generate a good amount of spin, whether it's the flick shots. He's just quite unpredictable. And as you called for, all right, DJ, drop the beat or cut the beat. CHUANG Chih Yuan's asking for a song to change. He's a little bit more into Lil Jon and the East Side Boys.
Still not too happy about the music.
Tough not to be. I mean, really, when you request a specific song and they play the wrong one.
Yeah, for sure. How can you be happy?
Party non-stop right now, my goodness.
Okay.
I think we just had the after party.
Turn.
Don't worry, I know the DJ. If you want in, just tell him you're with me. All right, back for game 2. CHUANG Chih Yuan to serve. About 3 shots in this rally, Koki Niwa looked like he was just saying, like he wasn't even playing it.
Especially after this forehand block.
Right, completely upright, still changing the pace and controlling. That one doesn't come down, but the start of the point's the same. It looked like he wasn't even playing. He's just so comfortable out here.
Yeah, because his reaction and his reaction close to the table, having especially the passive games, the passive skills, they're really on a high level.
See what's happening here. I see, okay, the crane. So I don't normally look down at the court. I'm normally watching the same TV screen as everyone else. The lighting in here is quite specific, and the crane for the camera was interfering with the light, especially on a service toss. Koki Niwa is saying, can we do something about this? It's going to really affect the play. There's that spinny shot, a little bit slower change of pace, and the bottom drops out. You know, for a few shots in this rally, Juani actually tried doing a similar thing. He took it a little bit softer, which allowed Koki Niwa the time to move back in and stay in control.
But I know also Chuangi quite some time. I've seen him many, many years. Whenever he's trying to slow down, he's also losing the timing. So he has to really get through with the power of opening the game, with the power of putting Koki Niwa away from the table.
Right, he's definitely a fired out, all cylinders, you know, pedal to the metal, high-speed guy. And this actually might be a factor if you think about, I think it was just recently, was it Filus that he had trouble with recently in the defensive?
Yeah. He's not a specialist to play against defense. He lost against him in the Hungarian Open 4-0, very easy. And it was very close that Ruben Filus would have met CHUANG Chih Yuan again. He had match ball against Wong Chung Ting. Ruben Filus doing a very good job here. And in case he would have won, then he would have probably met CHUANG Chih Yuan, because it was that part. And also Koki Niwa is not that perfect against defense. So Ruben Filus was really hoping so much to beat Wong Chung Ting in order to find the chance against Chuan, or maybe even Koki Niwa to go on competing.
Saw that match incredible, and Game 7 had a match point.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this.
Not over till it's over.
A little bit lower now into the fishing. Top of the net, but still recovers. Deep to the backhand. I was wondering, normally you keep someone pinned in the backhand, but Chuani not afraid to play out to the forehand. Niwa still playing a defensive shot there rather than trying to counter it. Usually in the lobbing game or even the fishing game, whoever's doing the defensive play is just waiting for the chance to counter with the forehand to come back in, move into the table.
You see there how much he has to struggle when he has to produce power by himself. He prefers that someone is getting to him some power and he can control the game, changing the placement, playing this maybe back and down the line.
Right. And we've seen that with the posture when he's on the receive and it appears that he's just giving it back to the opponent very calmly. He's saying, yeah, take your third ball, but watch where the next ball is coming back. Good luck figuring out what I'm going to do.
6-all.
It's also interesting when you said he doesn't like to generate his own power. That was the first time I think I'd heard a grunt or even a sound from Koki NIWA. I can't remember hearing anything from him.
But he can talk, 100%.
Barely, 50%. He definitely can. He's a funny guy, but he's a man of few words.
7-6.
A little bit of the shovel serve there from CHUANG Chih Yuan as well. Men's and women's game, finding this serve useful.
That's the timing we have been talking before, like starting the ball and then the acceleration of Chuan. Koki NIWA takes as a, let's say, a small counter spin close to the table. It's not the same swing we have been seeing from Fan Zedong or Dimitri Ovtcharov or Ma Long. It's a little bit different style with the short movement, very short movement.
Right. Yeah, it's very tough for a player with so much rhythm to adjust. And again, you're right, the timing, Koki NIWA, not a big heavy spin shot, just sort of a block, a little bit more dead down the line, and CHUANG Chih Yuan, the ball didn't come out to him.
And very often the ball is down the line when he's coming to the back end.
8-all.
Little flashback to the first point of the match.
Yeah. Not the perfect timing for doing a service mistake.
If he can recover this game, it will all be forgotten.
9-8.
Little help from the top of the net there, and CHUANG Chih Yuan in control. I was thinking about counting service errors. I think Xu Xin once, 6 service errors in the same game, same match. I think it might have been against Fan Zedong, actually. Now that step around, we talk about the low center of gravity and the posture. Koki NIWA, probably in the game, at least at the professional level, top 100 in the world, smallest man on the world tour.
Probably.
And he still generates some good power when he steps around to take that shot.
But mainly if he gets like a normal topspin as he was getting it here from Chuan, to have a powerful counter spin working.
10-9.
And for a moment, CHUANG Chih Yuan stepped ahead into the 9-8 lead. But 2 points in a row, and Koki NIWA back with a game point to take a 2-0 lead. And the muscle comes in this time, plays the short shot down the line.
You always, when you speak to players playing against Koki NIWA, they say, usually I have so many chances to be active, and I still have the feeling it's not the right way.
11-10.
Ah, yeah.
A little bit of re-gifting here, giving back the service there.
And would have been a very, very good long service, as Koki NIWA would have moved already to the forehand side in order to get this backhand banana flick working.
Right. I think we saw that in the facial, the wince of CHUANG Chih Yuan before, that he had the right idea but just didn't land the serve. As you mentioned, Koki NIWA moving.
Yeah, this is he doesn't like too much. When he has to move from forehand to backhand side there.
Let. Try.
Big fight. Now, one thing about CHUANG Chih Yuan, he is a fighter. I think the most memorable match, despite his title in Hungary, was for me at the 2014 World Championships against Ju Se-hyuk when he came back from down 0-2.
Oh, lucky him. And it was not the first time. You remember this to 11-9 in the first game. It was also just touching the net. So luck favors a bit Koki NIWA right now.
NIWA Ganbatte in the crowd. Internally, Ganbarimasu, says NIWA. I will go for it.
And this time he was ready for the long service.
Yes, a nice adjustment made and a timeout called by Koki NIWA. Now this is interesting. He's got Coach Tase Kunihito in the corner, who's been working with a lot of the young men from Japan and has a lot of young men to work with, as young as 13 all the way up through Masaki Yoshida at 22, just like Koki Niwa. Oh, but it's not. It's actually head coach Kurashima. I thought I saw earlier Coach Tase. No, it's the head of the program in Japan in the corner.
What is interesting to my point of view, I mean, Koki Niwa, I'm quite sure Koki Niwa took this timeout. And you always have the feeling that Koki Niwa is not into the game, but he is very much into the game because he feels the importance of getting this second game in order to have this 2-0 lead. And I'm sure that Kurishima was not taking the timeout, but Koki Niwa, because he really felt now it's the time for the momentum. Because you remember the head-to-heads you were telling in the beginning, it's 5-0 for CHUANG Chih Yuan. And now it's a chance to really turn everything, to have the 2-0 lead against one player where he never won international tournaments before.
And for someone who's accused of not being that into the game just based on body language, as you mentioned, to be so astute to call a timeout this early, I mean, this is head coach knowledge here to call an early timeout, and he does it on his own. Says, I'm going to take a minute to go talk to the head of the program.
Okay.
Not sure what that was.
13-12.
They were looking for the ball, I think.
Disappeared on the R of Seamaster.
No.
So the timeout hasn't paid off yet. CHUANG Chih Yuan quick over the table.
And bad service, high jumping above the net, giving Chuan the time to go for the backhand banana flick.
This surprises me. For CHUANG Chih Yuan to hang in there with the change of pace, Koki Niwa right into the rhythm that he loves, taking the pace of the ball. One fast shot, softer here, leaves it out in front, tries to play it back into the backhand, but just doesn't connect. Right on the line, what a dangerous ball.
And you saw, CHUANG Chih Yuan was expecting there a faster spin. And you see only the spinny ball.
Right, that slow spin ball left out in front forces him to just fish it up. Back at deuce, fifth deuce point. He's made the adjustments, but this is the third time we've seen that down-the-line, fast, long serve from CHUANG Chih Yuan.
And we've seen that quite some time before against players who use a lot the backhand banana, Chiquita. They're moving to the forehand. That means they're opening the deep backhand side.
Oh, the big forehand comes right back. CHUANG Chih Yuan diffusing the timeout. Plays it with such aggression. You have to be reading this so quickly. There's the Chiquita. Short stroke, he's on one foot to win the game.
Exactly. I was really expecting that he's nearly losing balance. But again, a great shot there from CHUANG Chih Yuan using this chance. Koki Niwa would love to win that game because it would have given him this 2-0 lead. Chuan find a little bit this way with a long service down the line, then moving a little bit more maybe with his own forehand.
Now, just in case you were curious who these players beat to get here, let's start with CHUANG Chih Yuan. Started off beating Ukraine's Kole, who's been quite a strong player in Europe over the last several years. Actually in England as well for a bit before that. And after that, CHUANG Chih Yuan beating Wang Chunting. A very impressive victory, 4-3, 11-8 in the 7th. But Koki Niwa on the other side, Ricardo Walter, who's on his way up. Mid-20s, what, 25 years old?
25 years old.
And still on his way up. Koki Niwa with a 4-1 victory there.
Game.
Actually, Walter beating Harimoto earlier in this
Harimoto
tournament.
and Chen Qian-an. So
which
he
is
did
a huge victory.
Yeah.
And then in the last round, Koki Niwa beating Zhang Jike. That was the default right after the match started. It seemed unlikely that Zhang Jike would actually finish the match from the start.
Let.
Now, as far as world rankings, when we have a chance, little back edge there, little luck coming back. Are you familiar with how that works? If someone starts a match as opposed to defaulting before they start, it saves them some points for us?
No, not at all. He will lose all the points, just like the only chance is when he's pulling out before the list was published. So let's say usually 4 weeks before the entry list is closed.
Ah, okay.
And then you are able to pull out, let's say, the day before everything is published, because then you have to have the chance to adapt everything. And I think even Junmitsu is in the list, so he will also lose some points there.
Right, for those of you who are curious why you don't see Jun Mizutani, got sick, there were bumps on the face, had to go home. Hopefully everything's fine, but it was enough that it wouldn't make sense for him to stay and play. So that brings up the question, for Zhang Jiko to come out, is it just to see in case he feels okay?
Exactly, I think, but probably then after some balls or after the warm-up he felt it's not the right way. What I heard, he had really a little bit higher fever, 39.9, so then it's also getting dangerous. And yeah.
And in 2015, I think Polish Open, Dima stepped out onto the court to play a few points.
Yeah.
Was that just to see if he felt like he could?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the end, but he will lose all the points because that means it's show up, and he will lose all these points.
As a 4-0 victory.
Yeah, for Koki Niwa. That means on the other hand also Koki Niwa wins all these points.
Right.
5-3.
Now you talked about how Koki Niwa is coming up to the Olympics, despite playing quite strong in the Olympics, had a shaky year or so. And he did come up high in the world rankings quite young. But yeah, I mean, at the World Championships in Malaysia, losing to world number 324 when you're number 20 in the world.
Yeah, yeah. He was, I remember him the first time he was playing a big tournament was already 2009 in Yokohama, where he gave Dmitry Ovtcharov a hard time. And at the end, Dmitry Ovtcharov managed to win 4-2, but it was really close. And if I have right in mind, that time Koki Niwa, how old is Koki Niwa now?
22.
22, yeah. It works like 2017. This is like 8 years ago.
5,
yeah, so
7.
14.
I think that was when I first heard about him. Yeah. A lot of friends, table tennis fans, saying Koki Niwa's my guy.
So you see, like this Harimoto, he's also a little bit younger even than Koki Niwa, but we have Mima Ito, we have Koki Niwa, we have Harimoto. These Japanese stars, they are starting very, very early. They can concentrate very, very early on their sport. And it's also quite common that they are coming up early in the world ranking. And still they are missing at this moment the next one behind Jun Mitsutani, who really make it to the top 10.
Right.
I'm sure sooner or later some of these guys will do that. Maybe Harimoto, maybe Koki Niwa, who's still young.
6-8.
Well, with the Zhang Jiko win here, this would be an outstanding one to have under his belt as well, moving on to the men's singles semifinal. You know, I brought up between the shaky year when he started at the Olympics against Ma Long, he looked quite strong in the beginning of that match.
6-9.
It felt like, could it be? If he pulled off this upset, it just seemed in game one like it was possible that it could go either way, but it quickly turned around.
Yeah, and Ma Long at the Olympics, same as in Sushu. I think the 2 matches he had in the single where he was shaky a little bit, it was Yang Yong-sik and partly against Jun Mitsutani. But altogether, he really deserved to win these 2 gold medals with the teams and also with the singles. Nice placement here.
11.
Little break there. Sounded like it might have caught the edge of the table, but still an escape in a big game after the timeout where Koki Niwa was hoping to go up 2-0. At least he takes the lead in games here.
And it really seemed to me, just imagine he would have taken it, this 2-0 lead. It might have been now 3-0. He's doing a fine job, and it's a classic Koki Niwa. I think CHUANG Chih Yuan also, from head-to-head, he liked to play against Koki Niwa. But it's really Koki Niwa, the one who's changing the timing, who's playing this backhand down the line, who's trying to avoid this spin-spin situation, trying to stay close to the table. Koki Niwa is doing well. But you mentioned that before, Adam. CHUANG Chih Yuan is a big fighter, so I'm sure he will stay in the game. I wonder maybe for him to come back again with a long service from time to time to open the game, trying to get in this spin-spin rallies, trying to put some pressure on Koki Niwa, that Koki Niwa has to somehow escape from staying close to the table.
Time.
Yeah, that was effective. That was in the game that CHUANG Chih Yuan won, where we saw these long serves to the backhand. And you know, you and I had a lot of conversation about Koki NIWA in that last game, but on several occasions he hit shots with inside-out spin. He's so flexible with his wrist and so versatile.
Let.
Yeah.
I mean, he can hook the ball either way. He's very creative.
That's good. That's good. Exactly. This is one side. Like, not so much with the body, but more with the hand and the wrist, what you mentioned. It's very, very fast. See there. See there.
Not only that, for me, the rally was won when he finally slowed down the point. CHUANG Chih Yuan was loving the rhythm of that for the start. But that's just a finishing shot, deep cross court. Let's watch the serve here. Light spin, ball comes popped up a little bit. And I think there's, for early players, they think the more spin on the serve, the better. But sometimes the receiver is used to the heavy spin, and taking spin off is what sets you up with the higher ball.
Exactly. So it's like you have, in general, 3 different ways of variation. It's like spin, it's like up spin, and sometimes it's just like simply no spin. And these kind of variation, and now we can keep on talking for hours and hours about service variation and different possibilities. Every player has to choose in order to get the right thing for him. For example, Chuan will prefer to have like an upspin service because then he's getting already some speed inside the game. For Koki NIWA, maybe it's better sometimes to have spin or no spin service because then the game stays short. He can open the game whatever he feels like.
Perfect placement there, right to the middle, caught him in the crossover point.
And he also wanted to see there with this little move of a wrist, but this time Chuan was ready. Trying to have some fake movements there.
I feel like it's been a little while since I've seen a head fake on the World Tour.
Good. And from placement, that's really classic. Usually, many left-handers, they play cross-court from the forehand side. They get the block in the backhand, and then they play cross-court again. But very, very often, Koki NIWA is using that ball down the line. That's his trademark ball, always down the line with the backhand.
Second serve in a row. Still does the heavy underspin.
You know, we try sometimes to explain the players because you see it's like always Koki NIWA is coming with his backhand flick, which is for sure a very, very good ball. Sometimes, and this should be maybe a next step, to pretend to come with his backhand flick, and in the last moment especially to just let the ball drop short in forehand. Because many players, whenever you come with a backhand, they already are doing the step back.
Right. And this is true of almost any shot in the game, really. If you can give the impression you're going to do something else and change subtly at the last moment,
5-7.
It's probably going to be very effective, and your opponent's going to be very off balance. Much like the Ma Long forehand flip where he comes in looking like he's going to push.
Exactly.
I'm surprised we haven't seen the ballroom reception out here. Not once. Koki NIWA hasn't stepped around and taken that shot. I mean, it's just so spinny. I would actually guess it would be pretty effective out here. Look at this. Little bit of a head fake, casually goes for the inside out, look away shot.
But to my point of view, he's really very, very concentrated. He really wants to take this game.
There it is.
This time he has it.
Hand in the air, the pose. Holds it for the cameras for just a moment, says too pretty. Look at this. Second chance over the table. Holds it up, wait for a minute, just remember what happened. You gotta love that. That's a little bit of swag coming out on the table here from Koki NIWA.
8-7.
Quick decision for that counter, taking it still on the rise. CHUANG Chih Yuan, good with the timing.
Bad placement there. Koki NIWA should have done that ball down the line.
Right.
Too easy again. We had that before with Marcus Freitas or some other lefties. If you play too easy the ball down, not down the line, but diagonal, then it's easy prey for the opponent to having a counter spin.
Got it. 9.
This is a quick turnaround with 3 in a row, just like that.
8-6. There was like this very special stroke from Koki Niwa. And I just gave credit to him how concentrated he is. And then like 3 points in a row, he just lost like that.
8, 10.
So the third towel break of the game. I mean, we could joke, you know, yeah, he heard Prowse in the booth and was like, hey, I'm concentrated enough. I guess that's enough. Time to relax. When you're 0-5 against a player, a 3-1 lead versus 2-2. Night and day, just long.
9.
And here again, he chose the placement down the line, and you see how much trouble directly Chuan gets because he was expecting the ball again in cross court. You see here?
Yep.
There.
The value of unpredictability.
10 all.
A little bit off the top of the net, but he saves another game point. 2 in a row. Step around here. Look how quickly he starts moving, goes back up into the corner.
10, 11.
Fast footwork from Chwani. I mean, Koki Niwa plays the line, seems to be surprising, but he doesn't move. CHUANG Chih Yuan doesn't move until he sees the contact. Top of the net, it starts to come back.
And this time,
yeah, this time it's for CHUANG Chih Yuan. I mean, there were several, if we were counting, I would guess there are about 6 balls with nets or edges for Koki Niwa, maybe 2 or 3 for CHUANG Chih Yuan.
And
so the ball is round, yeah.
And it's meanwhile it's 2-2. I mean, it could have been 4-0 for Koki Niwa. So I wonder now if Chwani a little bit gets this rhythm, gets just inside the game. He saved 2 games like this with 16-14 and 12-10. To my point of view, Koki Niwa altogether here is a bit the dominant player, and it's important for Chuan to get into the rallies, but it's unpredictable the way Koki Niwa is playing sometimes. 8-6, then 3 or 4 easy mistakes, coming back to 10-10. At the end, it's 12-10 for CHUANG Chih Yuan.
Right, and the unpredictability of Koki Niwa from a results standpoint, I mean, if you're looking on paper, it hasn't happened yet that he's beaten CHUANG Chih Yuan on the World Tour. But today, looking at the score, Koki Niwa's outscoring CHUANG Chih Yuan 46 to 43 points. So he is outplaying him overall. It's just a question of when, right? It's not who scores the most points, it's who wins the most games.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen that many times. Player loses 11-0, comes back to win the next 2 games.
Love 1.
Soft touch from Niwa over the table, quite confident before he steps around for that inside-out forehand.
And like lifting the ball, not so much spinning the ball, which is sometimes really a good variation there, not giving like extra spin or extra speed, just sometimes put the ball.
A little bit of slide there. You could hear the feet sliding. I don't know if that was CHUANG Chih Yuan. Let's watch one more time to see.
Yeah, because it was a little bit of an extra hook that Koki Niwa was producing there.
First chop block attempt we've seen. You know, we were talking earlier about the touch during Ma Long's match, and I don't think I've seen anyone make more chop blocks with a higher percentage more effectively than Ma Long.
Yeah. At this moment, it's really like he put this ball of feeling of touch a little bit inside there, as also Fan Zedong, because he was winning this award for having this extra touch around the nets against Gozi, and we saw also today here against Yoshida one incredible ball when he was pushing that ball.
Oh, chopped from down below the table and then came in to finish, yeah. So backhand to backhand, Koki Niwa definitely standing strong. And
this has to be, I want to mention that, this has to be the points of CHUANG Chih Yuan. And then on the other hand, Koki Niwa's best shot is this back and down the line. This CHUANG Chih Yuan has to avoid. And in this situation where it's spin, spin, rally, that's usually the moment when CHUANG Chih Yuan has to take the points. Actually, we mentioned before this match, Koki Niwa against Ma Long. And Koki Niwa beat Ma Long with his back and down the line.
4-3.
And this is just so atypical in the game. The safest shot where you can really generate power and feel confident about it is the cross-court shot, but it's the value of practicing these down-the-line shots. I mean, they're priceless out here for Koki Niwa. Even that push, down the line, a little bit deep, floats it. Let's watch one more time.
Yeah.
Steps back just a little bit. It's tough to tell what he's going to do. Looked like he could have gone for the flip.
Good long service this time.
5.
This variation Koki Niwa is doing pretty well. As we said before, when he has to produce his own power, especially against heavy and deep pushes, then sometimes you get easy chances against him.
5-4.
Difficult to see in which direction this game is going.
Right, I mean, this could be the turning point. We've seen, you know, 2-2 and it end up going to the 7th, but a 3-2 lead would give a lot of confidence, definitely to either player, but to Koki Niwa where he could use it for
6-5.
sure. I mean, CHUANG Chih Yuan has confidence. If he's down 2-3, he might start sweating, might start getting tight. The fighter in him, though, we've seen him come back again against Ju Se-hyuk, down 0-2, deuce in game 3.
5-7.
So interesting, the difference in how they behave when they play. CHUANG Chih Yuan very vocal to pump himself up. Koki Niwa quite mysterious and silent. I think it sort of works into the game, like you just don't know what's coming because he doesn't show any emotion.
6-7.
I mean, it's not the only reason, obviously, the variety of shots, but you just don't know what he's feeling or thinking at any time.
Exactly. Just remember with 8-6, he looked so concentrated, so put the ball on the table, not missing.
Time out.
That was interesting. CHUANG Chih Yuan calling the timeout. No coach in the corner. But he said sorry for a moment, maybe because he called it a little bit late into the serve.
Exactly, because like it was just in the moment when he was throwing high the ball of the service. Now that's actually also something many German players, I mean not only him or the German players, many players are all together doing. They call their timeout and then they are sitting on the chair, like going out to the box. I see actually among the first who has been doing like this was Dmitry Ovcharov.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then in that moment you were not allowed, because it's some years ago, you were not allowed to leave the box. Meanwhile, you are allowed to leave the box in a diameter, I think like 3 or 5 meters around this. You are allowed to sit down on a chair.
Right.
And the first time he was calling timeout, he said like, okay, I don't feel that good, I want to sit down.
Time.
And he was not allowed to leave the box. So we put one of the chairs the coaches are sitting on and give this chair to the box. And the referee allowed that at that time.
Very clever. Yeah,
Smart.
He's smart.
He's a smart player, definitely.
Yeah. I think this is common. There are very few players that are so strong that aren't very smart. I mean, table tennis, while physically fit, is definitely a brainy sport. You have to be clever and thinking so quickly. Pins it right into the body.
So timeout is not helping. Neither Koki Niwa nor CHUANG Chih Yuan. After calling a timeout, they're losing the point. That's something, like it's sometimes players and coaches, they believe timeout, of course, is crucial, but sometimes it's also a little bit of luck.
8-7.
Where they say luck favors the prepared.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, luck is always going to be a factor, but someone who prepares hard is going to have a better chance to succeed. There's no chance. It's not that much chance out here. You know, this is something funny that a lot of point. I was going to say a lot of non-table tennis players don't quite understand sometimes what it takes in the training and the practice.
Yeah.
wow, big
7-10.
counter forehand and the biggest chole we've seen. So for me right now, and for CHUANG Chih Yuan, of course, coming out of the timeout, he's now got game points, 3 of them. This would put him up after being down. This, as you mentioned, could have been a 4-0 match already.
It could have been 4-0 for Koki NIWA, not for CHUANG Chih Yuan.
Right. NIWA coming out strong, taking the first game, and they're on that serve, no follow through too. Stops almost at the point of contact, just after. I think this is one thing that a lot of the professionals do, Ma Long especially, with little follow through. It really forces the receiver to be so clear on the contact. Wow.
That's smart. That's smart. I was waiting for that service, but maybe not at 10-8. But very good long service down the line. You see? And that's exactly it. Now we see it, what we mentioned before. Very often these backhand-oriented players, they are moving, opening the side, opening the deep backhand, and when you have the chance there to have this long service down the line, it's an even direct point as it is done now by CHUANG Chih Yuan.
So the 3-2 lead on the side of CHUANG Chih Yuan, trying to continue his history. Hasn't dropped a match to Koki NIWA in the past. A little bit of redness there around the nose. I haven't had a chance. I don't think we're staying in the same hotel, so I haven't talked with him as much. But yeah, I don't know. We've seen different players with different sicknesses. You know, Junmi Zutani, we mentioned, left early. Zhang Jike with the fever. It is the time of year with weather changes and whatnot. And it's also interesting on the World Tour, these players are flying all over the planet.
And to just like to see the schedule of Dimitrov Charov, he played the top 16, he played the Swiss Open, he went to India, then he just directly from India with a very short stop in Germany came to Qatar, so he was really traveling a lot, not only Dimitrov Charov, many of these guys, and to catch a cold there.
Yeah. Dima actually having a hat trick, 3 for 3 in those tournaments you mentioned.
One love.
Interestingly enough, Koki NIWA trying to get in quickly with the high-speed shot.
Love two.
Again, this ball, like this deep push into the backhand, causing him trouble whenever he's turning around there. Not the first time he's missing this forehand topspin. Should have maybe stayed there, using the backhand. Three times with the ball. One time very good reaction from CHUANG Chih Yuan, but 2 times just missing this forehand. That's the weak part. We said, like, whenever he's producing this power by himself, sometimes he's just giving this easy ball to the opponent, to CHUANG Chih Yuan.
3-1.
I know it only comes up when there's bad news for Chwani, but that's one of my favorite sounds that he makes, that
And again, we had like this opening, and again from Koki NIWA, placement down the line. CHUANG Chih Yuan would have been expected the ball deep in forehand, and what I expect from CHUANG Chih Yuan would be like a big cross step in order to get to that ball. But it was really this ball with a little bit of change of placement down the line and caught him in the wrong moment.
2-4.
This game still has a long way to go from the start. It felt like it was CHUANG Chih Yuan's to run away with. That backhand block down the line is just, it's the epitome of Koki NIWA.
Yeah.
He plays it exactly where you would expect him not to.
And now also you know why Koki NIWA usually has to choose this ball down the line, because whenever he's playing cross courts, CHUANG Chih Yuan is there, and then it's like in the spin rallies where it's some advantage for CHUANG Chih Yuan. And now it's really going more and more in the direction of CHUANG Chih Yuan, as Koki NIWA getting a bit too passive altogether. And CHUANG Chih Yuan starts to move. I mean, that's sometimes a disadvantage of players like Koki NIWA that have so much of a touch, so very good skilled. They control themselves by controlling the game backhand from backhand, forehand from forehand. And now CHUANG Chih Yuan, he's everywhere with forehand. He's moving. And at the end, the active one takes the point.
This is the
Set
first time we
three.
haven't seen it be effective in some time, but that fast, long serve to the backhand is coming up far more frequently than you would expect, especially for such a high-risk serve. But I think NIWA has it clear in his memory. I don't know if I'd fully say learned his lesson, but yeah, maybe.
3-7.
It's a sad memory to go into the lobbing game on a service receive, to lose a 2-2, you know, to lose game 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's again the moment where the match really turned in the favor of CHUANG Chih Yuan.
3-8.
And at the end, Chuan deserved this change of the game because he was moving altogether, to my point of view, a little bit better. Koki NIWA was relying more and more on his skills close to the table, but the one who's more active, to my point of view, was CHUANG Chih Yuan now.
8-4.
Yeah, no question about that. Definitely running around working. As traditional as the game is for CHUANG Chih Yuan, he is still bringing out elements of surprise on the serve. Yeah, we haven't seen as many down-the-line shots, but that last ball that he had wide to the forehand, he played aggressively to the middle of the table. And these little details, you know, early on, a lot of people think, oh, play it wide, out of reach.
Yeah.
But when you get a high ball near the net, it's almost always at this level, you see them play it right into the body.
Very good. And one more time with his long service down the line. He was waiting for this forehand topspin cross, and then another forehand counter loop in the forehand of Koki NIWA. Very well played.
And a quick escape. Look at all this. The timeout in game 5, and CHUANG Chih Yuan takes it in 6, 11-4. What a turnaround performance, and still a flawless record against Koki NIWA for CHUANG Chih Yuan as he moves on to the men's singles semifinals later today. A new serve from Koki NIWA, but no change in result. Stick around, you're watching the 2017 Seamaster Qatar Open. We've got a little break for you, and we'll be back later with the semifinals, women's, then the men's. See you in a bit.